Dear students and viewers, greetings. I am Professor Archana Kaushik from the Department of Social Work, University of Delhi, Delhi. I welcome you all to this module on social work with families, diagnosis and assessment. This is the first part of the unit being covered. In the second part, we shall understand family therapy and interventions. In this session, we are going to learn about the role of social work in diagnosis and intervention in family issues. The psychological and systemic factors impacting family dynamics and the application of various assessment frameworks and tools to diagnose and assess family problems. Let us enlist the learning outcomes of this session. By the end of this session, you will be able to articulate the relevance of family as the core unit of society, utilize appropriate diagnostic and assessment tools in family interventions, and critically evaluate conceptual models like the journal systems theory and apply them in field practice. The family is often described as the basic unit of society and the cradle of human civilization. It is within families that individuals learn the values, beliefs, and social behaviors that shape cultures and communities. The strength of any society rests significantly on the strength of its families. A well functioning family promotes emotional security, stability, and social competence. However, not all families experience harmony. The present society is characterized, among other things, by the declining importance of all primary groups, including the family. The traditional image of home and family as a cozy nest of love, security, and never ending happiness is somewhat shattered in the present times. Rising divorce rates, economic stress, migration, and changing gender roles have introduced complexities in family life. Differences in cultural backgrounds, unmet expectations, and financial pressures are common sources of discord. These tensions may culminate in separation or divorce, often accompanied by a long legal battle and mental trauma. Disagreements over finances, parenting style, and roles can lead to disorganization and conflict. When families disintegrate or face dysfunction, individuals suffer emotionally, psychologically, and socially. Many empirical evidences show that family discord and divorce is continuously on rise. The social work profession has a major role to play in assessing the levels and causes of family disorganization or marital discord and design intervention accordingly. Family assessment is generally done through the holistic approach. Through diagnosis and assessment, social workers aim to understand the underlying dynamics of family conflict. Following are the major tools and frameworks used in the diagnosis and assessment of families in problems. First is genogram. A genogram is a visual representation of a family tree that includes detailed data on relationships, emotional connections, and patterns across generations. It not only shows the biological connection between family members but also the emotional and behavioral patterns that exist within the family. By using certain specific symbols and shapes, genograms help social workers understand the complex relationships and dynamics within a family. On your screen, a typical genogram is depicted. Certain common symbols used in the genogram are also shown, such as males are represented by a square and females by a circle. Genograms help in spotting patterns like abuse, addiction, or mental health challenges. By recognizing these patterns, issues affecting the families are identified. Example: a social worker used a genogram to uncover a cycle of domestic violence spanning 3 generations, helping the client break the cycle through therapy and safety pattern. Next is EcoMap. An EcoMap in social work is a visual representation of an individual or family's connections and relationships with their environment. It helps social workers assess client needs, identify support systems, and develop interventions by illustrating the client's social network and the nature of those relationships. Two versions of ecomaps are depicted on your screen. As you may see, an individual client or family is placed at the center of the map. Circles, lines, and labels are used to represent individuals, groups, or organizations in the client's life and the nature and quality of their interactions. By mapping a client's social connections, resources, and potential stressors, social workers can gain insight into the individual's ecosystems and how it impacts their well-being. Taking an example, a child showing signs of aggression was found to be isolated from peers and teachers. The EcoMap revealed weak school ties and poor community support, guiding a community-based intervention. Next one is family-centered social work practice framework given by Hartman and Laird in early 1980s. By using this framework, the social worker conducts a systematic, strength-based and ecological assessment of the family. This framework guides assessment and intervention in the three broad areas. First, socialization of family norms. Second, interaction of family system with other social systems in the environment. And third, family dynamics. Understanding assessment of family norms. As we know, family norms are the shared expectations, unwritten rules, values, beliefs, and patterns of behavior within a family system. Social worker assesses if there is any human rights violations of any family members based on their age or gender which is normalized. For instance, educational priorities favor boys over girl child or needs of elderly are overlooked. Considers cultural contexts. Norms are often deeply embedded in culture or religious traditions. The framework emphasizes respecting cultural variations while also addressing harmful practices such as rigid gender roles or corporal punishment. In the second domain, family environment, social worker assesses the interaction of the family with the social systems in its social environment such as workplace, legal system, education system, housing system, neighborhood, ethnic community, etc. that influences the family's well-being. The interaction of the family with these systems can be functional or dysfunctional. A social worker analyzes connection between family and external systems like school, health services, employers, community networks. The schema on your screen shows this. A case example may be taken. A migrant family may be struggling for decent housing at an affordable cost. Children may not be getting admission in schools for want of complete documents. This may be leading to conflicts between the couple. Social worker examines the interaction of the family with other systems and accordingly design interventions. Third one is assessment of family dynamics, where cohesion or intimacy and depth of a relationship is noted and problematic relationships like emotional dependence or disengaged ones are addressed. Also in this domain, types of communication, positive or negative, rigid versus chaotic adaptability patterns, autocratic versus democratic decision making, role performance and success in carrying out individual members' developmental tasks are assessed and accordingly addressed. Next assessment framework is McMaster model of family functioning. It is widely used clinical framework that assesses how family operates across 6 core dimensions: problem solving, communication, roles, affective responsiveness, affective involvement, and behavior control. It provides a structural approach to understand strengths and functions of family systems and is frequently used in both assessment and intervention in family centered social work and therapy. First dimension is problem solving, which is families' ability to resolve issues that threatens their integrity and functioning. The focus of assessment is, can the family recognize problems, generate solutions, and implement and evaluate outcomes? And indicators of dysfunction studies are recurrent unresolved conflicts, denial of problems, or inconsistent strategies. Second dimension is communication, that covers the clarity and directness of verbal and non-verbal messages exchanged between family members. The assessment focus is, if clear communication is there, direct, relevant, or respectful. Indicators of dysfunction are frequent misinterpretations, indirect speech, avoidance, sarcasm, or silence. Next component is roles, or the extent to which family responsibilities are clearly defined and effectively carried out. Social workers assess if the roles clearly defined, flexible, and age and gender appropriate. And indicators of dysfunction are role confusion, inappropriate delegation, for example, child parenting, sibling, or role overload. When comes effective responsiveness, which is families' capacity to respond to others' emotional needs in a range of situations. Assessment focus is looking at, are emotions expressed appropriately and felt mutually? Indicators of dysfunction are emotional numbness, overreaction, or mismatched responses to distress or happiness. Fifth component is assessment of affective involvement, that implies the level of interest, care, and emotional investment family members show towards one another. Focus of assessment is, are there mutual emotional connections or concerns? Indicators of dysfunction cover emotional detachment, enmeshment or over involvement, or emotional neglect. Behavior control is the last component, assessment of which is defined as the way in which family maintains standards for behavior in various contexts like danger, eating, sexuality, substance abuse. Question defining the assessment focus is, are rules clear, consistent and adaptable? Dysfunctional indicators are permissiveness, rigidity, or chaotic and unpredictable discipline patterns. Let us take a case example using the McMaster model. A family seeks help because their 10-year-old son is exhibiting aggressive behavior at school and refusing to do homework. Using McMaster framework, social worker assesses that on problem solving, the parents avoid confronting the child's behavior directly, hoping that he will grow out of it. On communication, instructions from parents are inconsistent and vague. For example, they may shout, "Behave yourself," and the child often receives conflicting messages, not knowing what is exactly expected. There is role ambiguity. The mother assumes most disciplinary responsibilities while the father is emotionally disengaged, believing discipline is her job. On affective responsiveness, the child's emotional outbursts are met with either yelling or silence. There is limited warmth or comfort offered when he is distressed. On the component of affective involvement, the parents say they care, but they rarely show the interest in the child's day-to-day experiences. The child feels invisible unless he misbehaves. On behavior control, there is no consistent rules or consequences. Sometimes bad behavior is ignored other times it is harshly punished. Using this model, intervention plan may improving communication through parent-child sessions, focusing on clarity and active listening, redefining family roles, ensuring both parents share emotional and disciplinary responsibilities, strengthening social and emotional responsiveness with strategies like emotion coaching and praise for positive behavior. Also, creating a consistent behavior management plan with clear expectations and agreed upon consequences. Thus, McMaster model enables practitioners to go beyond surface level symptoms and examine underlying family processes. By breaking family functioning into distinct but interrelated dimensions, social workers can create precise evidence informed interventions that target specific dysfunctions while building on family strengths. Next one is circumplex model. The image on your screen is the visual representation of circumplex model of marital and family systems developed by David Osland. This model is widely used in family therapy and social work education to assess family functioning. It focuses on family cohesion, flexibility, and communication. It assesses whether families are disengaged, enmeshed, rigid, or chaotic. It includes two core dimensions: cohesion or emotional bonding, and flexibility, which is the ability to adapt to change. A healthy family system typically falls in the balanced area of these dimensions shown in green, while extremes often indicate dysfunction with red bars. Diving into some detail, one dimension is cohesion, shown on horizontal axis, that measures emotional closeness among family members. This cohesion can be disengaged where members are emotionally distant and there is lack of support. Separated ones have some closeness but still independent. Connected ones depict emotional closeness and loyalty with individuals, and enmeshed ones are overtly involved and lack of personal boundaries. Second dimension is flexibility, given on vertical axis. It assesses how families adapt to change. It is categorized into rigid, characterized by strict roles and rules, and resistant to change. Structured ones show stability and openness. Among flexible ones, change is possible and acceptable, and chaotic are characterized by no clear roles and consistent leadership. An example of rigidly disengaged would be a military family where the father enforces strict discipline, shows little emotion, and expects obedience. Each member functions independently with minimal communication. Its effect can be emotional distance, suppressed needs, and limited adaptability. Then, flexibly connected are the balanced ones. Its example could be a family that shares dinner nightly, support each other emotionally, but respects each other's space. They adjust rules when children grow older. Its effects generally are strong emotional support, open communication, and resilience in crisis. Then comes chaotic and mashed ones. Its examples may be a family in financial crisis constantly changes routines. Parents overtly involve children in their issues. Boundaries blur and there is lack of structure. Consequently, there is a confusion, emotional overload, and anxiety among family members. The next one is structurally separate, which is mid-range. Its illustration can be divorced parents share custody. Children spend weekends with one parent and other weekends with another. There is emotional connection but physical distance and distinct roles. Such families can be somewhat functional but could struggle with transitions. Social workers use these models to assess family strengths and challenges. The role is to move family towards the center, balanced zone that is flexibly connected, structurally connected for healthy functioning. But flexibility and cohesion vary depending on life stages and challenges. Next one, the family APGAR is a brief, practical and easy to administer tool used to assess a family member's perception of the family functioning and support. APGAR is an acronym for the 5 key dimensions of the family functioning. A is adaptability, which is family's ability to use and share resources, adjust to crisis and change. P is for partnership, that is shared decision making. G is for growth, that implies emotional and personal development. Other, A is for affection, love and caring, and R is for commitment to devote time and support to family in times of need. Each dimension is rated by the respondent on a scale of 0 is hardly ever, 1 sometimes and 2 almost always. Total score ranges from 0 to 10. Let's take a case example of a 22-year-old young man admitted to a de-addiction center for substance abuse. During intake, social worker administers family APGAR. On adaptability, he scored 0 as he feels his family doesn't support him during crisis. On partnership, he gave 1 as he was rarely included in decision making. On growth, again he gave 1 as he feels misunderstood and unsupported. On affection, he gave 0 as he feels emotional disconnect. He rarely experiences warmth or empathy at home. On resolve, he gave 1 as he believes the family is present only in extreme situations. Total score was 3 out of 10. The low APGAR score highlights a lack of emotional support and communication, which may be contributing to or reinforcing the client's substance use. Using this framework, the social worker gained insight to work with the family to engage in joint counseling sessions to improve communication and emotional expression. Family APGAR is a simple, quick and reliable, useful in both clinical and community settings, and can be used to track changes over time and encourages self-reflection on family functioning. Further, in the context of family assessment, projective technique is a method where individuals are presented with ambiguous stimuli like pictures, words or situations and asked to respond freely. The assumption is that their responses, often revealing unconscious thoughts and feelings, provide insights into their personality, beliefs and perspectives. This is particularly useful in family assessment as it can uncover underlying issues, communication patterns and relational dynamics that might not be readily apparent through direct, and child apperception test is a projective personality test designed for children aged 3 to 10. It uses pictures of animals in common situations to elicit stories from children, provide insights into their innate problems, personality traits and attitudes. These are non-threatening ways for children to express thoughts, feelings and relational patterns, and they may not verbalize directly. On your screen, visuals of CAT, child apperception tests, are depicted. The child is asked to tell a story about each image. For example, when shown a picture of a child and a parent at a dining table, the child might describe tension, absence or warmth. These narratives often offer insights into the child's view of family roles, attachment patterns, fears and unmet emotional needs. The thematic apperception test is similar but used with older children and adults. It presents human figures in ambiguous contexts, such as a person sitting alone or a family gathering. Clinicians analyze the content, emotional tone and character and identified in the story. Using these tools ethically requires proper training, sensitivity, and awareness of the limitation. They should not be used in isolation to make decisions, but rather as a part of the comprehensive family assessment. Other projective techniques include drawing tests like draw a family or sentence completion tests to reveal unconscious emotions. In addition to the assessment frameworks and tools discussed in the session, several others also are there. Bronfenbrenner ecological systems theory views the child within multiple layers of influence from immediate family to broader societal contexts. It helps social workers understand how factors like school, neighborhood, and culture interact with family dynamics. Likewise, Beaver's systems model assesses families' competence and style, focusing on how families solve problems and regulate emotions. Family environment scale quantitatively measures family climate including cohesion, expressiveness, and conflict. These tools, though could not be covered in the session, are very important as they provide useful insights. Thus, families are complex systems deeply rooted in our social and emotional lives. Social workers have a responsibility in diagnosing and assessing family issues. Through these family frameworks and tools, they can assess causes of family problems and challenges in an effective manner and provide adequate intervention response, about which we will learn in the next session. Thank you.